Hi everyone, this is Journeyman2 here, and I just want to run through some quick, basic to intermediate domino plays that can help everybody look cool at their local game store by how well they're playing such a complex hero. So the first combo here that I have lined up for us is something I like to call the double-double, a basketball term. And what that entails here is that we're going to be spending a double resource 2 times, hence double-double. So if this is our hand right here, we can go ahead and spend energy to play our 2-cost probability field, and then swap energy back to hand. So we're essentially gaining 1 resource. We're losing 1 resource, we're gaining 2 resources for a net +1. And we can go ahead and spend that energy again and play Domino's Pistol. So now we've gotten 2-cost cards. And then the last card in our hand can just be Painted Lady, and then we flip up and we are ready to go. Now we should be aware of times when a double is sitting on top of our discard, when we can flip down and swap it back to hand if we're 1 resource short. Anytime we see a double on top of our discard, or we have a double in hand, we should be having this play in the back of our mind. Now let's move over here. And here we are going to be learning the triple-double, which is just like the double-double, but instead of spending a double resource twice, we are going to be spending a triple resource twice. So what we can do here is Jackpot to get out Outlaw, and then swap Jackpot back to hand. And in this particular deck, cards like Gamora and Ghost Spider, which don't do much in our hand, are perfect swaps for the top of our discard. And now we can spend Jackpot and play Professor X, and then go ahead and spend and get another 1-cost card out, or if we had a double, we could get a 2-cost card out, things like that. If we have Pip, now would be a good time to go ahead and Pip Jackpot on top of the deck for any of our discard effects, such as Outlaw or our Domino's Pistols. So this is the triple-double. We usually don't want to have Jackpot end up in the discard for any long period of time, because it is very valuable in our deck to get +3 value to our events and our pistols and our probability fields, and being able to hit it multiple times in a turn is very strong. So we don't necessarily want to do this if we don't have a way to get it back, but this deck has plenty of ways to get it back, such as with Pip and Beast. Okay. Our next board here is going to be all about the Painted Lady. After you discard a card from the top of your deck, attach that card face down here to a maximum of 3. Exhaust the Painted Lady, add 1 card attached here to your hand. So at minimum, if we can get the Painted Lady down right before we Weapon X, and then we use Weapon X, we get a card to our hand, and we save one of the discarded cards under Painted Lady, and then Painted Lady exhausts to add that card to hand, we completely refund the cost of Painted Lady. So it's always going to be giving us a draw. And if we're going to Alter Ego, it's likely going to be giving us 2 draws. Once when we flip down and add something to hand, and once as we're about to flip up and add something to hand. So it's an Alter Ego resource generator, just like a lot of things we've seen before, just with a little bit more complexity to it. Now, things that I will try and go out of my way to store under Painted Lady are things like double resources. So now, instead of getting just +2 every flip, we're going to be getting +4. So we use Painted Lady, we get Energy and Genius under there, say. The turn we flip down, we get Genius back to hand. We can play like a 2-cost card, or now we have access to the double-double play. We spend Genius twice. And then the next turn, we can get Energy into our hand right before we flip up, and again, we have access to the double-double play right away. So double resources are cards that I really like to put under Painted Lady. Another card that I really like to put under Painted Lady is Make the Call. This gives us a resource sink for any of our many Alter Ego resources. So let's say we draw something off of Weapon X that we can't use, or we get a bunch of Digging Deeps to hand. Now we can add Make the Call to our hand from Painted Lady, dump all of those resources, get an ally. And if we have enough, we can even dump them, get Beast, get Jackpot, and now we have Jackpot in hand for the triple play. I also like to add in, under Painted Lady, our play only if you have the mutant trait card. So mutant is an alter ego trait, so anyone who has the mutant trait only has it in alter ego. Weapon X and X gene require you to have the mutant trait to be able to play it. So you can only play these cards if you are in alter ego. So having them in your hero hand isn't the best, but what we can do is if I see Weapon X get discarded, I can put it under Painted Lady, and next time I flip to alter ego, I can exhaust Painted Lady, add Weapon X to hand, and it is immediately playable. So alter ego only cards, double resources, resource sink like Make the Call. Some other things I like to put under Painted Lady are our player side schemes. These are only a single resource. Really any single resource card is good to get out of the deck because it makes all of our effects just slightly weaker. So getting these out and then being able to play them from alter ego, maybe clearing them with like an Adam Warlock Jackpot play, which are usually easier to set up from alter ego, ending up with Jackpot as the last card in your hand, and then using Adam Warlock's response to remove 3 threat from a scheme and instantly clear a player side scheme, get another card out. And then lastly, the thing that I use Painted Lady for is any event card that I might want the turn that I'm flipping up. So Luck Be a Lady is a very strong event card, and so I might save that under Painted Lady, flip down, and then the turn I'm flipping up, add Luck Be a Lady to hand. So double resources, resource sinks like allies and Make the Call, alter ego only cards, single resource cards or player side schemes, or any event that I'm wanting right before I flip up to alter ego. This is primarily what I'm using Painted Lady for. So getting access to the double-double, the triple-double, all these crazy plays, Painted Lady is very underrated, I think. Very subtle but strong card. Alright, I want to do a brief segment on digging deep and how to play around some of these discard from deck effects and what that looks like. So as soon as we see a digging deep, our instinct is immediately swap it to the top of the deck, draw a card, and then use one of our discard effects and draw that digging deep. And now we have an extra resource in hand, almost like if we had drawn a double resource from the start. Except we can split it between 2 cards if we need to. Now, a lot of times, there's going to be a time where we draw Digging Deep and we swap it to the top of our deck and we draw Digging Deep, and now we've wasted our hero ability. Now there isn't a great way to avoid this other than setting the top card with Pip the Pug or using Atlas Bear to check beforehand, but we definitely can try and use as many of our discard effects as we can to see what they hit first. Something we really want to avoid doing is Jackpot is on top of the deck and we swap Digging Deep and we get Jackpot, because now we can't have it get discarded and shuffled back into the deck. We can't use our hero swap to get it back into the deck. So we might have an extra resource here maybe, and we might be able to flip down and do the triple double, but a lot of times we want to get Jackpot into our deck and discard it, and it can always end up in our discard or under Painted Lady, and we can do the triple double from there instead. So we really want to try and avoid these type of accidents. So triggering our lower impact discard abilities first, so doing pistols with sharpshooter, discarding 4 cards, and seeing what you get off of those cards first, and then saving your hero swap for a more impactful effect like Probability Field or Diamondback or a Luck Be a Lady. That's probably a better option here. Now of course we can always count as well, do some card counting. So let's say we have 2 Digging Deeps and White Fox are in the discard. Well, we know we don't have the possibility of doing a Digging Deep for Digging Deep swap, so now we can safely do the Digging Deep swap and draw a normal card and then get the Digging Deep back with the discard effect. Now Digging Deep is a pretty good card to hold between turns, because unlike most cards that you hold and then you draw 1 less card that turn, Digging Deep you're not going to draw 1 less card because you're going to be able to swap it to the top of your deck and then get it back. So like let's say on a normal turn, I had these 5 cards, and I ended up with Jackpot as my last card in hand, and I draw 4 cards in the deck. I only have a 5-card hand the next turn. But let's say if I had that same 5-card hand with a Digging Deep instead of a Jackpot, and I spent everything and I held Digging Deep. Now when I get my next 5-card hand, and I can swap Digging Deep to the top, discard it. So I swap it, draw a card, discard it, get it back. Now I have a 6-card hand. So Digging Deep is a very good card to consider holding in your hand turn to turn, just like Jackpot is, except if you have other Digging Deeps coming up in your deck. So let's say I hold a Digging Deep, and then like in this example here, I drew a Digging Deep. Well, I could have done the same thing with that Digging Deep instead of holding on to this one and seeing 1 card deeper into my deck. So if there's still Digging Deeps coming up in my deck, I'm not so keen on holding a Digging Deep, but if it's the last Digging Deep in my shuffle, then I might hold it so I can use it the next turn and get that 6-card hand that way. So just a couple notes about playing around Digging Deep, playing around White Fox's effect, and trying to avoid some Digging Deep for Digging Deep plays as often as we can. Alright, over here we are going to be looking at some ally recursion strategies. So as we've talked about previously, the top card of your deck is going to be changing a bunch of times throughout your turn. Anytime you're spending a resource, anytime a card is discarded from the top of your deck, anytime a card is leaving play, all of these things change the top card of your discard, which gives you a decision point about when to use your alter ego swap. So one of the key things to watch out for is allies on their last hit point. These are prime targets for the alter ego swap. So Diamondback here, she is on her last hit point. I can exhaust her, maybe discard Jackpot from the top, and then she goes to the discard. And if I have a card in hand, I can swap her to hand. So let's say it's looking something like this. Maybe we even have a Painted Lady out here. And one of these doubles under Painted Lady. Okay, so we use Diamondback. She enters our discard, and then we swap her to hand, and then we can use, if we have 2 other cards in our hand or a double resource, play her again, double play, or we can add our double from under Painted Lady and get her back into play, use her again. Twice in 1 turn, maybe she even hits Jackpot 2 times. Likewise with Outlaw, if she's on her last hit point, we just need 1 extra resource to play her than we would for Diamondback. Beast would need 2 extra resources, but he's an excellent way to get Jackpot back. So Jackpot is somewhere in the discard, we don't have Pip out, we can't swap it to our hand because it's too deep. We use Beast, we activate him, and we get rid of him. We swap him to hand, we dump our hand, we play Beast, and now we have Jackpot as the last card in our hand. And we can either, if we have other cards to spend it on, do the triple double play, or drop it for Adam Warlock, or maybe we can get Pip off of Weapon X, and then use it and swap Jackpot to the top of our deck with Pip. Or just hold it to the next turn, get a triple double play next turn. You can see how there's all sorts of spiraling decisions with Domino. One thing we always want to be on the lookout for are availabilities or opportunities to flip into alter ego, especially once we have our any of our alter ego supports down, Weapon X, Pip the Pug, Painted Lady. And the key card that's going to be allowing us to get alter ego is Professor X. When he enters play, he confuses an enemy. So for most non-steady, non-stalwart villains, what we can do is Professor X, confuse the villain, do everything that we do in Hero, flip down, get all of our alter ego supports, and then at the end of the round, Professor X is the top card of our discard. We swap him back to hand, and we play him again, confuse the villain again, and we can even stay in Alter Ego for a second turn. We're going to get 3 straight turns of our Alter Ego supports. That's 3 straight draws from Weapon X, 3 straight draws from Painted Lady, 3 straight top deck sets from Pip the Pug, as well as access to our Alter Ego, swap the top card of our discard. So at base, that's what Professor X is capable of. It's very strong, especially once we add in cards like Diamondback and Outlaw that can utilize Pip the Pug's set card when we can't count wilds twice from Alter Ego. Now against steady villains, what you're going to want to do is play Professor X and stay in hero, don't flip down. And then at the end of the round, after Professor X is the top card of your discard, so chump with him instead of using Probability Field, or Probability Field and then don't chump with him and he is on top. At the end of that round, starting your next turn, don't use any of your discard effects, flip down, swap him to hand, play him, and now he adds the second confused status onto the villain. And the villain is fully confused and you are safe in Alter Ego, you get access to all of your Alter Ego abilities, yada yada. Now, we don't always have to have Professor X in hand to make that work. We can get him with Make the Call, we can get him with Call for Backup, and that can set up a double Professor X play. Very strong against non-steady villains, and still quite strong against steady villains. Now, what we're going to want to try and do is usually set up a triple-double play. And we might be able to do something like we have Professor X in hand and Jackpot under Painted Lady, and we flip down. We use Painted Lady to add Jackpot to hand. We use Jackpot to play Professor. We swap Jackpot back to hand with our Alter Ego ability, and then maybe we spend Jackpot and Make the Call to get out another ally. Now, if we don't have another ally in hand, what we might try to do is use Weapon X to hit Outlaw, or maybe before flipping down, we use the top swap of our hero deck, try to pull something, or if there's anything in our discard, we just use Make the Call for it. Now, the key thing here is if Professor X is in our discard, maybe he's buried, it's going to be difficult to get Jackpot back if we use Make the Call first, because Jackpot will enter, let's say this is our discard, Jackpot is going to enter our discard pile before Make the Call, and now he can't swap Jackpot back and do the triple-double. So anytime we're trying to do the triple-double when one of the doubles is Make the Call, we want to spend Jackpot normally first. So we ideally have something to spend Jackpot on normally, like Outlaw, and then once Jackpot is on top of our deck, or on top of our discard, we swap Jackpot to hand, and now we have the Make the Call play, and even if Jackpot is getting buried, Pip might be able to put it back on top of the deck. Now, we also want to be aware here of being able to use Jackpot twice from Alter Ego. So we might have a situation where we had Jackpot on top of our deck, and let's say we have Outlaw in play. Let's say we have Diamondback in play. So we can do something like use Diamondback, and if she's on our last hit point, we hit the entire board for 3. Let's say we're in hero mode, we hit the entire board for 3 by discarding Jackpot, and instead of shuffling Jackpot back in, we let it hit the discard. Now, Diamondback is also going to hit the discard here, but we can use our Alter Ego swap to swap her back to hand, use the rest of our hand to replay her. So we flip down, we do the Alter Ego swap, replay her, use Pip to put Jackpot back on top, and then we can Diamondback again. And now Jackpot, we definitely shuffle it back in. So we get 2 uses out of Diamondback Jackpot, or the same, we get 2 uses out of Outlaw Jackpot, or we can do 1 Diamondback, 1 Outlaw, depending on who is out, who's in the discard, who's in our hand. We can also do this if we save Jackpot with Painted Lady instead of letting it go to the top of the discard. So we just have Painted Lady add Jackpot to hand. And if it's under Painted Lady, that also opens up the triple-double plays for Professor X or Outlaw or Make the Call, and all of those good things. So aside from Adam Warlock, we also have this power event, Luck Be a Lady. And Luck Be a Lady gives us 6 different options if it discards a wild. you can choose to heal 2 damage twice, remove 2 threat twice, deal 3 damage twice, or heal plus threat, threat plus damage, heal plus damage. If it hits jackpot, you're getting all 3. So we do like it to hit jackpot, or we do like it to hit the wilds. And for the wilds, it is giving a better rate than the rest of her events. Like if you're using Luck Be a Lady strictly for the 3 damage twice, it's now 1 cost 6 damage event, compared to a good workout discarding a wild, that's going to be a 2 cost 6 damage event. So Luck Be a Lady is very efficient and very flexible. A lot of options here. We haven't even gotten into if it discards the campaign card pouches. You have 12 options for Luck Be a Lady. You can pick one of the options 4 times. You could do a 3-1 split. You could do a 2-1 split. So incredible decision making here with Luck Be a Lady. Now what we are trying to do is use Make the Call and Call for Backup to cheat in, where'd they go? To cheat in our trait locked allies, Ghost Spider and Gamora, who we cannot play from our hand because they're play only if, but the put into play clause of Make the Call and Call for Backup gets around their play restrictions, and now we can get them into play even without having that trait. So things like we have Jackpot in hand, Luck Be a Lady is coming up in our deck somewhere. We want to get Ghost Spider out and either run her into a Retaliate, like Juggernaut has 3 Retaliate right now. We can run her into that, or he has 2 Retaliate and she takes 2 and a consequential, or we get her out in the villain phase and chump with her in the villain phase when we have Jackpot in hand, and then we can use her Interrupt. When Ghost Spider leaves play, search your deck for an identity-specific event, add it to your hand, and get Luck Be a Lady, and now we can use our hero swap to swap Jackpot on top, play Luck Be a Lady, maybe with X-Gene, and we get all of Jackpot's effects. We can even, so after Luck Be a Lady goes to the discard, we could save Jackpot under Painted Lady after it gets discarded, flip down, and if we have Adam Warlock in hand and that's the last card in our hand, get Jackpot into hand, use Adam Warlock, and it goes to the discard, and maybe we flip it on top for Pip, or now we have it on top of our discard for a triple double play the next turn. We also have Gamora here, and Gamora has a 12.5% chance to hit Luck Be a Lady. There are 8 events, 3 Make the Call, 1 Luck Be a Lady, 2 A Good Workout, 2 Right Place, Right Time. So 1 out of 8, 12.5% chance to hit Luck Be a Lady. Now, we have CITT here, mostly for its wild resource if we're never able to play it, but we are able to use it to ready Gamora. And we can use it with Power on All of Us, we can use it with our double resources, but anytime we attack Earthboard with Gamora, we discard cards from the deck until we hit an event. So if we swing with Gamora once, 12.5%, and we swing with her again, that's another 12.5%, or a 25% chance to hit Luck Be a Lady. And if we already have some of those events in our discard, now we have very good odds to hit Luck Be a Lady. If we hit and Make the Call, it's not the end of the world. Let's say we were trying to do this while you have Jackpot in hand, try to get to dig for Luck Be a Lady so we can do a Jackpot swap and all that. Now if we hit Make the Call, maybe we have access to a triple double play instead of Luck Be a Lady play, and we can audible into that, which is almost equally as strong. The only hang up here is that Gamora is a hero response, so we aren't able to do this from like Alter Ego, where Gamora attacks and thwarts, gets us Luck Be a Lady, we flip Jackpot on top, and then we flip to hero, and we're able to get the Luck Be a Lady Jackpot play. So we have to be able to do this from hero, but it is very strong. We can load White Fox on top of the deck, we can load Digging Deep on top of the deck, and she's going to get us Digging Deep, or she's going to get us White Fox. The hero swap is another chance for us to get Luck Be a Lady, so plenty of ways for us to hit Luck Be a Lady off Gamora and Ghost Spider, CITT, our hero swap, and if we hit Make the Call, then we still have the triple double play in our back pocket. So over here we're going to talk a little bit about sequencing between our Alter Ego supports. So when we have Weapon X and we have Pip the Pug down, how are we using them? Well, at base we could do something like Pip to put Jackpot on top of the deck, and then Weapon X draws us Jackpot, and now we have a triple double play on our hands. Play 2 3-cost cards with Jackpot. and ideally end up with jackpot on top of our discard for the next turn. Or we could start with weapon X and discard, 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 maybe get some digging deeps in hand, and then we're going to get an identity specific card, and then we can decide what to pip after that. So we want to draw into something like maybe what we draw into an outlaw off of weapon X, and now we have the triple double play, and after we do the triple double, we're able to pip jackpot back into the deck, whereas before, if we had just drawn jackpot off of weapon X, we don't have access to the triple double play, or getting jackpot back into the deck after the triple double play because pip is already exhausted. Now what we can do is get White Fox on top with pip before we weapon X, and then we at least get White Fox into play, and we get a card, and we have the triple double, but again, because pip is exhausted, we're not getting jackpot back into the deck. We do want to get jackpot into the deck with pip as often as we can, so that when we flip the hero, we're hitting jackpot from that thin deck multiple times in a turn. So if we do like Domino, pistol into sharpshooter, pistol into sharpshooter, and then we're hitting jackpot 4 times, and we're dealing 12 damage, that would be an ideal scenario. So pip and weapon X present a lot of really good sequencing for us. We can get that free ally, we can get the card that pip puts on top with weapon X, or we start with weapon X and then we get jackpot back into the deck. So 2 options: start with pip, you don't get jackpot back in the deck, or you start with weapon X and you do get jackpot back into the deck. That is the main difference between starting with one, starting with the other. It really depends on what your board state is, what cards you're digging for. Usually I prefer to start with weapon X over pip, but it's going to be something you have to look for. Okay, here I want to demonstrate the power of jackpot in a thin deck. So we have Domino in hero form, probability field, pistol, pistol, sharpshooter out. There's only 2 cards left in our deck. One is jackpot. The pistol is going to discard 1. It's jackpot. There we go. Shuffles up. Now we're going to trigger sharpshooter. It's separate triggers, 1 instance of damage, and we hit Adam. So now we've done 4 damage off of this first pistol. The second pistol, we can go ahead and we hit jackpot, and then the deck reshuffles and we put jackpot back into the deck. Now, if we have Painted Lady, wherever Painted Lady is, here, and where are our allies? So let's bring these over. So let's say we're set up like this. So we've just done both of our pistols, we've caught jackpot under Painted Lady, and we have our deck reshuffled over here. Now we can trigger our probability field, do our top discard, flip down, get jackpot into hand, and now we can do some Diamondback and some Outlaw shenanigans here. We can spend jackpot, use Pip the Pug to put jackpot back on top of the deck, and then have Outlaw discard for it, and now we can either AE swap, get it back to hand, or let it reshuffle and then Diamondback for it. And there's a lot of times where if you have like 5 or 6 cards in the deck, you're hitting jackpot multiple times before the deck reshuffles. But the main thing to consider here is jackpot in a thin deck. You have 50% chance to hit it with 2 cards, and you can easily hit it multiple times. So let's say we have the same situation. Jackpot is on top here. So let's say we have just discarded jackpot and we've reshuffled the deck. Well, sorry, and reshuffled, so there's 2 cards left in deck. And then we hit it and it's not jackpot. Well, now we don't just have to use jackpot on the, we do get a guaranteed 3 value out of it. We could also swap it to hand and get something else on top of the deck, and then do the triple double in Alter Ego, get it back on top with Pip, and use Diamondback and Outlaw for it. But there are chances where you can hit jackpot many times in a row, and if you play enough games, you will hit a game where you are hitting jackpot 4 times in a row out of a 2-card deck with the pistols and sharpshooter. And you just jackpot, shuffle, jackpot, 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 and that's 12 damage without having spent a single resource. So Very valuable here to have jackpot in the deck when your deck is getting low on cards. So if you see yourself at like 10 cards, it might be a good idea to try to set up a turn where you can flip to alter ego if jackpot is in your discard, just to get it back in your deck. So that next turn, you draw that 6-card alter ego hand. If jackpot is still in your deck, you're going to have 4 cards in your deck. One of them is jackpot, good odds. Or if it's in your hand and you drew it, you can either spend it with triple double, get it back on top with pip, or throw it into the deck with your hero swap, swapping the top card back, and now you have jackpot on top in a thin deck. You're guaranteed to hit it once, you're likely going to hit it multiple times. Very strong to get jackpot in a thin deck. Alright, this is a play that I'm dubbing the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Beast is the lion, Adam Warlock is the witch, jackpot is the wardrobe. Bit of a stretch here, but we're all using our imaginations. So let's say we have a 5-card hero hand, something like this, and we're wanting to end up with Adam Warlock in play, jackpot is the last card in our hand. So what we can do here is we flip down, we use jackpot for Adam Warlock, we get it back to hand. This is the triple double. Now we have jackpot, another resource, we're able to spend those, we get beast gets jackpot back into play. It is the last card in our hand for Adam Warlock. Why do we want it to be the last card in our hand? Well, he randomly discards a card from our hand. So if we had jackpot and another card, there's a chance he does not hit jackpot. So we want to end up with the last card in our hand, forcing him to hit jackpot, and that gets us our remove 3 threat, heal 3 damage, deal 3 damage as an activation effect. If he hits anything else, he's only getting 1 of those, which is still fairly good, but if he's hitting jackpot, he's getting all 3, and that is just tons and tons of value. So from that 5-card hero hand, we are able to get Beast, Jackpot, and Adam Warlock. Now, we can do this not only if it's Beast, but let's say Beast is in the discard, and make the call as in hand. Well, now we still have access to Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. We flip down Jackpot for Adam, swap Jackpot to hand, make the call with the rest of our hand, get Beast, and Jackpot will end up as the last card in our hand again. So we can do Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe anytime we have some combination of Jackpot and Adam Warlock in hand, Beast in hand, or make the call in hand. We can also do it anytime we have a call for backup in play that can be cleared. So if we have Adam Warlock in play, and let's say we have a probability field Nina Thurman, or Domino, we can go ahead and probability field, clear call for backup, instantly get Beast, he instantly gets us Jackpot, and we'll be able to Adam Warlock that turn. We can also do this if Beast is the top card of our discard pile. So let's say we have Adam Warlock in play, and we have Beast as the top card of our discard pile. Well, we can now swap a card for Beast, get Beast back, and then have him search Jackpot from anywhere. Now we don't always have to have all 3 of these cards together, because Beast will get us Jackpot. So we don't have to start with the triple double. If we have all 3, then of course we're in triple double territory. If we have make the call, we're still in triple double territory as long as Beast is in the discard. We just want to make sure that we're ending up with Beast getting Jackpot in hand as our last card, or a way to spend down so Jackpot is the last card in our hand. We can even do something like catching Jackpot with Painted Lady instead of letting it reshuffle into the deck, so that way when we flip down we can get Painted Lady to hand. Now we have the triple double, we get out Adam Warlock, we get out Beast, and we get Jackpot back and have it in hand for Adam Warlock. This is excellent because now we can do our pistols and our probability fields without fear of covering up Jackpot as the top card in the discard. If we just let it hit the discard and it gets covered up by other things, now it gets a little bit harder to play Beasts. Maybe we have a double resource and we can do a double play to get him and get Jackpot. But ideally, we have some combination of these cards in hand, in play, on top of the discard, or Jackpot under Painted Lady. Call for backup in play is also a great enabler. It gets us Adam Warlock. Let's say we have Jackpot in hand, and we don't know where Adam Warlock is. We can go ahead and clear call for backup, get Adam Warlock out, and let's say Jackpot is the last card in our hand, immediately Jackpot. Or we don't even have Jackpot in hand, we have Call for Backup out, and we have a playable beast. So we have 4 cards and beast, or maybe one of the cards is a double, or we're able to swap a Digging Deep to the top of our deck to get another resource. Well, we spend our entire hand, we use beast, beast can clear Call for Backup will get Adam, and beast is going to get Jackpot, and now we've set up the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe once more. So there's a lot of different permutations to this, and it's always good to be on the lookout for when this is a good play. Now, you do want to get some sort of value out of all 3 of these things. Remove 3 threat from a scheme, heal 3 damage to an enemy, or heal 3 damage to an identity, deal 3 damage to an enemy. So if Domino is at max hit points, well, maybe the healing 3 damage isn't doing us as much, and it might be a better idea to set up a Luck Be a Lady play with Ghost Spider, Gamora, Jackpot, make the call, something like that. Now, what helps here is if we have Weapon X. Well, let's say we're at 7, we can Weapon X to get down to 6, and we get something in hand, maybe stash something under Painted Lady, maybe get a White Fox in play, maybe get a Digging Deep, and we spend cards in our hand until we hit Jackpot as the last card in our hand. Or we do all of that before we even do the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, see what Weapon X gets us, go down to the 6 hit point scenario, see what Weapon X gets us, and maybe we do a triple double with something like Outlaw and Beast, and then clear Call for Backup into Adam Warlock, into Jackpot, and now we have 3 hit points to heal, and we're getting maximum value out of Adam Warlock. So that is the whole point of the deck, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe play, which is very strong here. We also have the Luck Be a Lady play with Ghost Spider and Gamora, and we have some other very strong plays as well. I hope this video helps people to understand Domino a little bit better. I think she's going to be a hero that I'll be playing for years and still figuring things out for her, and there's so many different things that could be included in this video, but we got to cut it off somewhere. So here's just a little basic overview of some of the plays you should be on the lookout for Domino. Things like the double-double, the triple-double, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Anytime you have an ally on 1 hit point that maybe you want to get back into play from her alter ego swap. Ways to play around Painted Lady, ways to play around Digging Deep, and how to use all of these different things to their maximum effect. And let me know if there's anything that you see or that you saw in your games that you would like to shout out about Domino. I mean, she's one of the most complex characters. She's probably the most complex character in the game, and she really challenges me as a player, which is why I think I've taken such a fascination with her. Great design all around from Fantasy Flight Games and Tony.